Joao Felix to Chelsea FC. Here we go for the second time. Now this time we're looking at a permanent transfer. No more loans. He's here permanently. As I record this, there has been no guaranteed agreements. However, looking at the evidence, I would say it's very, very safe to say that Joao Felix is a Chelsea Football Club player. Once touted as the golden boy, something that isn't given out lightly. I mean, the likes of Pedri, Bellingham, Gavi are giving these trophies, and Felix was given it a very long time ago, and unfortunately he's not lived up to the hype. However, I do think that in Chelsea he can recover that form, recover the amazingness that came with him. But saying that, I do think that where we once needed him, I'd say probably about last year, we no longer have such a need for this type of player. I mean, when you look at it, he is very, very similar to Nkunku. They can both play on the wings, they can both play out wide, and they can also both play centrally. They don't really rely on their pace. They do, however, rely on their dribbling ability, their technical skills, which they both have. And of course, I'd still say Nkunku's probably a bit better. Obviously, being one of the player of the season in the Bundesliga. That's not. I mean, the Bundesliga isn't an insane league like the Premier League is, but it's not that shit. You know what I mean? Winning the best player in any season in Bundesliga is very impressive, and I do think that Nkunku will show the entire world how great he is this season. However, if he does that, Joao Felix will not be able to do that. I think it's either or with these two. I think Felix is going to have to be like an Nkunku backup. And when you look at the sheer midfielders, we have Enzo, Dewsbury Hall, Lavia even. He could definitely play as an 8. I mean, not even counting Caicedo there, because I think he's more of a DM. I mean, some people say he's an 8, and I think he can play 8 100%, but I think he will be at the back line. However, Enzo, Lavia, I can see them pushing up because of Caicedo. And then, again, in Nkunku, like I said, even Palmer can really play the 8 if we're being honest with ourselves, because he comes in deep a lot from the right wing. And if he just does that from the central area, that is literally what an 8 is, right? So, again, there's not a lot of opportunities with these players around. And that's even worse when you consider Neto coming in on that left wing. The wings aren't really open anymore, and I think if Joao Felix played on the wings, he would be a bit ineffective from what I've seen at Barcelona, because my second club is Barcelona. I watched them a lot last season, and obviously big fan of Felix myself, huge fan. That's why when he first came to Chelsea, I was absolutely astonished, and just it's like, wow, my favourite player going to my favourite club, right? But unfortunately, I'm not so, how can I say this? I'm not so happy about this no longer. I mean, I just think Felix needs to play in a specific system and be the main man. And I don't think he's going to do that at Chelsea. So I think this is bad on both ends. I think Felix isn't going to get the development and the form. He won't even be given the time to develop. So I think on his side, it's a bad decision. And on Chelsea's side, I think playing Felix in the 8 or the wing isn't a good option. I mean, the 8 isn't bad necessarily, but again, like I said, when Nkunku's there, you can't play both of them. You know what I mean? They're both too attacking, and they don't really have any defensive responsibilities. So they're not going to be able to defend well. You know what I mean? So I think this is a bit of a bad decision on Chelsea's end. However, with the system, the style of transfers that we're going for, I mean, with Todd Bowley, I mean, the Abramovich era's ended, right? And with Todd Bowley, we have a new sort of system of getting young players in. If they can play for Chelsea, great. If not, we're packing them out and we're getting a profit, right? And with that system, I mean, it's not horrible, but so far it's not been great for Chelsea at all. We've struggled a lot in games because of these young players, inexperienced players, undeveloped players. I mean, there's a lot you can say about these players, but the one thing they do all have in common is talent. But talent can only get you so far, right? At some point, you need those scruffy players like Gallagher who are shipping out. So it's a bit it's not looking too bright for Chelsea, to be honest. Now, if you're wondering, the price tag we're getting Felix, I think, is around 40 million, including add-ons, that is. I think we're looking probably at 20 to 25 million fixed price, and then 10 to 15 million in add-ons. That's my guess, of course. That's not guaranteed by no means. But I'll tell you what, it's definitely not 60 million. But look, going back on Felix, man, it's just a bit like when he came on that 6-month loan, he wasn't given a lot of opportunities. However, in the small amount of opportunities he was given, he played like, I think, 11 games in the 6 months, and he scored about 4 goals. And you know what? That's not even horrible. Absolutely not. That's actually decent. It's decent. I mean, considering, again, with this disgusting, horrible tactics and formations we were using during 2023, it's not bad at all, to be honest with you. He kind of created for himself, and you know, had a couple cool goals, enjoyable goals, and I think he can do that a lot more. He can do that even better this season. But like I said, Nkunku is ahead of him 100%. And Maresca is not going to give up on that, and I can't blame him. Nkunku is slightly a better player, but Felix, man, I think he's great. I think potentially, he can be an elite player. But again, I just don't see him doing that in Chelsea. As much as I love him and as much as I love my club, I just don't see the chemistry working as it stands on as Chelsea have going into this sort of possession system. It's just like, where would he play Felix, right? But I'm all for being proven wrong. If Felix can just prove me wrong, have a great season. Obviously, his style isn't bad for possession, not at all. But like I said, the only problem is he isn't effective on the wings in this sort of system. The Sterlings and obviously the even the Palmers are great in this system, obviously playing out wide. They can do that, but Felix staying wide isn't great for him. He's a technical player. He's a dribbler, man. He's you know what I mean. He's got that Brazilian flair as a Portuguese man. That's just the sort of player he is. And in the 8, I can see him doing a lot of great, but in the wings, I don't. So it's that simple. And like I said, if you can prove me wrong, I will be here for it. But unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna happen. But look, man, I hope this all works out. Obviously, we'll need to get Gallagher sent out to help the FFP situation at the club, bring in the profits, and that will, you know, help us from not getting a transfer ban again. So with this sort of thing, guys, you're just gonna have to see. All right. So I'll leave it there, and I'll see you all in the next video.